Happy Monday, knitters. I'm Louise from Wildflower Wool, and welcome back to my channel. It's another episode of New Start Monday Knits, where I have picked 2 balls of yarn and I'm going to cast on something new. I have got progress on last week's new starts, and I have something, actually I've got 2 really exciting things to show you. So let's get started. So as you can tell, I'm up here in the yarn room. I've been doing some organizing. That's why the shelf is looking pretty empty. But that is in another video. This is all about knitting, not about the organizing. So let's start out, as always, with the finished dishcloth. Look at this. I have success. This is that garter slip stitch dishcloth. The one I was obsessing about. I don't have my book up here, but I had gone over the criteria that I was looking for to find not the perfect dishcloth, but a I don't know what the right word is. I mean, the super fastest and easiest is obviously like doing the super simple diamond dishcloth, like the diamond garter stitch one. You're never going to beat that. But after that, I was kind of looking for the next best thing. And this pattern, I was loving. And I remember a couple weeks ago, I did a blue one and I messed it up. Actually, I've got it right here. I can reach it. And amongst, if you guys have been watching my videos of all the yarn sorting, this room is a complete disaster, I have to say. But this was sitting, look, there it is. There's that mistake. This was sitting right on a top pile of yarn. So this was the 8-row repeat dishcloth. And in my criteria for finding, you know, like an easy pattern, maybe I shouldn't say like the perfect pattern, but something that qualifies as really, really easy. And I decided that doing an 8-row pattern repeat just didn't fit into that criteria, because even though it was 4 rows and then you offset it and repeated those 4 rows, so 4 rows twice still makes 8. And I was having trouble keeping track, as you can tell down here, because look at, there's that line. Anyways, so I ditched that, rewrote the pattern with just the 4-row repeat, and there it is. And I love it. I would knit this at a knit night. A few friends and I met at, well, outdoors. We met outdoors and we sat, you know, distanced apart, and I worked on this. So I was able to talk, I was able to listen, and I was able to knit. And for heaven's sakes, don't tell me you see a mistake in here, because I don't think I made a mistake. I was super happy with this. The only thing that I'm thinking that I might try and do, I know in my criteria I had said no edge stitches, because that means you got to think at the beginning and the end, but this always starts with the knit 1. I'm wondering if I might start it with knit 3 at 2 knit stitches on here. Just, what do you think? I need some advice. I'm thinking that this looks like, just like right there especially, it looks, yeah, there's even like a little bump there. I'm wondering if I put 2 more knit stitches on there, if that would even it out. So I think I'm not done with this. I'm going to, hi Daisy, I'm going to keep going and try and put an edge stitch on there. So I've taken off the border stitches on my criteria for like the perfect or the next simplest dishcloth criteria. And yeah, I'm going to take that off there. But what do you think? I'm not really seeing a huge difference in these. I mean, I know the one's variegated, but I mean, you're seeing texture. Hi Daisy. I mean, I wouldn't look at this and say, oh wow, she altered that pattern. She, you know, messed around with it. I think it looks fine. What do you guys think? I'm happy with it. And I could do it without having, I could do it by reading my stitches. I didn't have to follow the pattern. I didn't have to check rows. I could knit at knit night and do it. I I think I found a keeper with this one. So we'll just try those edge stitches on there and see if that even makes it just a smidgen better. Look who's come to visit me. She's all, I don't know, can you hear her purring? She is just in her glory, sitting on my lap. Okay, so dishcloth. That made me really happy. That seems like so long ago. I finished that probably the day after I talked with you. Now, I think one of my criteria for that dishcloth pattern was that it had to be quick. And I know that's kind of a relative term because quick could be different things for different people. So it didn't have to be done in one sitting. I mean, I probably could knit all of that if I you know, took the whole day, knit a chunk in the morning, in the afternoon, in the evening, could probably be done. I think I did this definitely in like 2 evenings, I could be finished this. I think I had a little bit done when we did our video last week when we chatted, and then I did like about another half of it the next night, and then finished it the next night, most of it at knit night. So a 2 evening knit, I think that classifies as like a quick knit, right? That might be my criteria, kind of 2 sittings, 2 evenings. Anyways, something else. Okay, here's the other exciting thing that I worked quite a bit on this week. You remember my Caron Cake scarf, the broken rib, multicolor, what was it called? Rainbow sprinkle. Remember how I kept showing and showing and showing it? Well, guess what? This is the last time you're going to see it because it is done. The ball band is already into my finished ball band box, and here it is. This makes it hard to show things when I have a cat sitting like right here. And she doesn't seem to be upset about it at all. But okay, here it is. Ta-da. I think when I showed this to you, do I have the stitch? I do have it in here. So this is where I was last video. I had finished the blue section and I had started this reddy color. And what I had thought was I would just do a color block every week. So it would have taken me 2 weeks to finish this. But because I was already a quarter way, I don't know, is that a quarter? Maybe not quite. And I thought, oh, it didn't take me that long to finish this. And I thought, you know what, I'm just gonna keep going and I'm gonna get this done. And I did, and I finished with the orange. I love it. You guys know I like this broken rib. Not broken rib, not broken rib, mistake rib. So mistake rib is where the ribs, they're offset, almost like they're like a seed stitch. Broken rib is where you have your ribbed, I think I've knit my hair into this. So broken rib is where you've got columns of knit and purl columns, and then you do a plain knit row. Every like 2 or 4 rows, you put a plain knit row. That's broken rib. Mistake rib is where it looks almost like seed stitch. I like this. I like the other one too, but I really like this. So it's done. One more ball of Caron Cakes is done and knit and out of my stash, which makes me super, super happy. What else did I work on? Last week's new start was another one of these scarves. That's the Caron Latte Cakes. I like having these empty shelves here. This works good for setting things up here. So remember this. I've had a lot of people send me pictures of projects that they're working on in this yarn, and at least 2 or 3 people are making sweaters out of this. It would make a fantastic sweater because it does feel super nice, and everybody who has seen me knit with this is falling in love with it because it is really nice. It's soft. It's lovely. Now, the one thing I was going to compare this to, and I'm not sure if it's the yarn, if it's my gauge. Sorry, I shouldn't have put this away yet. Think last video, my plan was to knit the same width. I like the width of the scarf. I cast on a few last stitches because this is a bulky weight, a number 5 yarn. This was a worsted number 4. So I thought that makes sense, right? If I'm using a bigger needle for this, so it's going to make bigger stitches, right? You would think. And I'm pretty sure when I held this up last video, this was a smidgen bit bigger than this. And I thought, okay, it's not going to give me quite an accurate representation of the yarn usage, because I wanted to see if one ball of the bulky and one weight of the worsted would still, even though there's more yardage in here, if the scarf would basically come out the same length. And I thought, oh, this is a little bit wider. Okay, well, you know, the scarf may be a little bit shorter because I'm making it wider. But as I was knitting along, I was thinking, this looks like it's narrower. And it is. Look at that. So I don't know if that is because I had only had so much ribbing done when I first held the two pieces up to one another, because we've talked in other videos, I think when I was working on the mitten, and I said, you know, you've got to work a good chunk of ribbing because it really pulls in. So I'm not sure if that was the case. I just hadn't knit enough of it for it to really find its true size, that for that ribbing really to take effect and pull in, or if the weight of the scarf, because this has got a lot of drape. It doesn't have a whole lot of structure to it, but it'll make a great scarf or a shawl. I'm not sure if the weight of this, it's not super long, but if it's just getting long enough that the weight is pulling it down, which is narrowing it, I'm not sure. Because it does when you pull it, like, I mean, there is width there. When you just, I'm thinking maybe it's just the ribbing. Maybe I should have cast on a few more stitches. But you know what? I have 2 more balls of this, so I have a feeling we can do a little experimenting. I mean, this is pretty much its width. I mean, I can stretch it out further. But if this is stretched, it's the same size. So it might, I don't know, maybe it's a combination of the two. Anyways, it's okay. It's going to be a little skinnier than I had wanted it to be, but I think it'll be fine. I think we'll have enough yardage that we'll get a really long scarf, so we'll be wrapping it at least twice anyways. It'll be fine. That's the beauty of a scarf. You know, we're not looking for something to fit. It can work no matter what the width is. Anyways, chalk it up to experiment. I'm not going to pull it out because I've got this much done. Did I show you how much I have done? Other than my first little bit talking about the length and the weight and was it pulling it down. But look, I got a good chunk of it done this week. This is all I see, and maybe that wasn't enough to figure out how much that ribbing was going to stretch in. Maybe I should be measuring, come up with that magic number, you know, I don't know how many inches to get the true representation of what that ribbing is going to look like. And maybe this obviously wasn't enough. There you go. Lesson learned. Well, you know, it is what it is. Oh my gosh, it's going to be fantastic. This is going to make a great scarf. And just as a recap, this Karen Latte Cakes has no wool in it. Now, somebody has said, another viewer has mentioned, they said that their local Michaels doesn't have this any longer. That would be a shame because it is very nice. And my goodness, so I did a little clip of my shopping trip in Michaels, and I showed you there was, what was there, like Karen Cakes Skinny, Karen Cakes, I don't know, I can't remember now. There was Karen Cakes, there was Karen Cakes Skinny, there was the latte, and then there was like a chunky. Well, when I was back in there later on, I went in, I didn't buy anything, so anyways, but I walked through the yarn again, and there was Karen Cake swirls, carrot cake anniversary, and that was, I should have taken a picture of it. It was huge. It was $40. It was one massive ball of yarn, and it was $40. So I don't know how the weight is. Next time I'm in there, I'll have to look and take a picture, and we can compare it. We may just have a carrot cake segment every video. But I couldn't believe how many different kinds of carrot cakes there were. Anyways, they're fun. So that was that. It's on its way. Maybe I'll take a break from the mistake rib. Maybe I'll try something new. But, okay, that's going to lead me into new starts for this week. I had a little bit of a hard time with this, but I'll get to that in a second. I'm going to show you my dishcloth. I always seem to start with dishcloths. This is my little bag holding my dishcloth knitting. I am using up odds and ends. These were sitting downstairs on my coffee table, and I thought, you know what? I really want to get these part balls used up, and I want these ball bands to go in my ball band box. I'm starting to have a little bit of a concern that the year is slipping by and my ball band box is not filling up as quickly as I had hoped. So what am I working on here? This blue variegated, look, I only have this little bit. This is what was left over from this guy. So we talked before, Bernat Handicrafter, the variegated balls don't have quite as much yardage in them as the solids. So this is, I knit this one a good size. It's about 8.5 inches wide and about 8, maybe, I don't think I went quite 8.5 because it was looking really big. So a really good size on a 3.5 millimeter needle. And this is what I had left over, just a smidgen. So I'm hoping I can work this into this week's dishcloth, which is a super simple diamond dishcloth. Again, my needles are 3.5 and a 3.75. You pick which size, and ideally use the same size needle. But you know, my dishcloths have been turning out great using mismatched needles, and I have never bothered to rectify that. So I'm just carrying on. But anyways, these two, I knit these for Anita, not this one. This one was in her wedding, her dishcloth gift basket that I gave her for her wedding gift. And this one was a brand new ball. Robin. So this one is robin egg. And what was this? This was chocolate something. Chocolate ombre. So I am just striping these two. There's not a lot in here, so I'm really hoping that I will run out of this, and then I can just finish off with this and get 3 balls finished, a dishcloth done, and 3 bands into my box. It's like, sounds like winds all the way around, doesn't it? So this is what it's looking like. I do love doing these dishcloths because they are so simple. Perfect for just, you know, doing whatever, watching whatever you're watching or listening to, and just knit away. Again, I'm striping it. I've got 2 rows of one color, 2 rows of the variegated, 2 rows of the blue, 2 rows of variegated, and I'm just carrying it up the side. When I come back, every time I come back to this side. So if I was here, I just finished with my blue. I let my blue hang to the back, and I pick up my new color and see how it's just catching, and then I carry on and just make sure that it's not pulling too tight, so it's not going to pucker up that side, and carry on. Super easy. And I love how it knits up, right? Like, that doesn't even necessarily look like it's odd bits. It just looks like it could be a variegated yarn. You know, when you've got all, you know, one dishcloth like this and one solid blue, and you put them together, and that's what you get. Love playing around with these different colors, and making your own unique colorways is always fun, and it uses up odd bits that just kind of hang around, sit in your stash. Well, I don't know about you, but they hang around in my stash for a really long time. but not anymore because I'm trying to knit them up. So this one will get finished and it'll go in my Christmas box. And you know what I found in past years? I would have had all these beautiful dishcloths, you know, the ones that were done with the first out of a ball of yarn. So the whole dishcloth's done with one ball of yarn. And I would, you know, put those on top because I needed a certain number for Christmas gifts. So I added in a few of these mismatched, you know, odds and ends scrappy dishcloths and kind of put them on the bottom, right? Because I thought, oh, no, nobody's going to want them. But you know what? In the end, when everybody started, you know, looking through the whole entire box of all these dishcloths, the scrappy ones were the very first ones to go. And I was just about dying of embarrassment, thinking, oh my gosh, don't take those. Those are the, you know, those are the leftovers. Those are like the seconds of the dishcloths, you know, like take these other ones. But everybody loved the ones that were really, really super colorful. So once I kind of let go of that, I don't know, like preconceived idea that everything had to be perfect, you know what? I actually really like the multicolored ones too. They're one of a kind. You mix and you match. Everything goes, you know, just be creative, enjoy the colors, right? And so anyways, that's the story on that. So now I have no problem doing the scrappy ones because I know people really like them and I like knitting them. So that's that. And you know what? I just realized I forgot to show you something. I got more knitting done this week than I thought I did. Did you see my little video I did? And I know I posted a picture of these on Instagram. So last week, I showed you a finished mitten. This past weekend, I met up with a friend. We went down to the beach. I love knitting at the beach. Is my most favorite place to knit in the whole entire world. And even though it was super, super crazy hot, I cast on mitten number 2 and I got most of it knit while we were sitting down by the water. Now mind you, we were in a nice shady spot. We weren't sitting right on the beach in the sand. We just took a walk later on down by the water, which was lovely. But we could see the beach, the water from where we were sitting. We had an eagle flying above us. It was beautiful. And I was probably the only person knitting a mitten in 30+ degree heat, but I got mitten number 2 done. And honestly, I can't remember which one was mitten 1 and which mitten 2, but they are both done. Thumbs, ends wove in, done. Super happy. A finished pair of mitts. So I'm using this as insurance because I know everybody's kind of starting to get into that fall mood. School's going back in. The evenings are getting a little cooler. And, you know, fall seems like it's around the corner, but I'm hoping that since I've got a pair of Lopi mitts finished, that maybe summer will hang on just a little bit longer and I won't have to wear these for a little while. It will not break my heart if I don't have to wear these for a couple of months. So that was another this week almost feels like a finishing week. My new favorite dishcloth, that scarf, finished pair of mittens. I would call this a success. Although I hope everybody else has had a successful knitting week as well. Okay, that leads me to my little bit of a problem. I started looking through my stash as I was sorting through on the weekend. I thought, okay, I should really find something that I've sorted through to make as my new start yarn for this week. This is the first time that I have been doing these every week since January. I felt stuck. I really had a hard time. The first ball I grabbed, am I attached? No, I'm not. Okay, so you will recognize if you watch the weekend's video, Yarn Organization Part 3, you would have seen this ball. I pulled it out, look, and I even started. I started working my herringbone stitch shawl, but I don't know, I was not feeling it. This yarn is super, super thin. I don't know if you would call it a heavy, because I have no ball band, so I don't know exactly what it is. So I just assumed it was a lightweight sock yarn, but I don't know, lightweight sock yarn or a heavy lace weight. I don't know. It was work to keep going. So I thought, nope, I'm not going to work on it right now. It can just, you know, wait until, and I don't know, until it talks to me. And see, I think that's the problem. It wasn't talking to me. I was just thinking I was going to make it into something. Anyway, that sounds a little odd, right? We've talked before about how yarn speaks to me, and hopefully I thank you guys too, right? All right, I'm not sure what the, anyways, doesn't matter. I've got this, I've finished partway through a row, but it doesn't matter because this is coming out too. I was sitting downstairs. This was in my living room. This wasn't even up here to be sorted. This was just downstairs. And look how beautiful that is. No ball band on this either. Note to self, I got to start keeping track of my ball bands. But anyway, I thought, okay, this is gorgeous. It's beautiful. This will make a great scarf. I was thinking a hitchhiker or just a plain garter stitch asymmetrical scarf. It would be fantastic for somebody for Christmas. Right? Right. Wrong. I started it. And I thought, okay, first thing I did is I picked it up and I felt the weight of the yarn. I'm like, okay, this feels better. This is more, I don't know, it's heavier than that other stuff was. So that made me happy right off the bat. I started knitting it up. It looks like, okay, wait, I'm getting rid. This is being pulled out anyway, so I'm getting rid of this needle because it's just in my way. So look at this. This is looking, to me, like self-striping. And that immediately turned me off because I thought, okay, I don't want self-striping because the stripes are going to not be the same size, right? Once I get going and this gets bigger and bigger and bigger, the width of my stripes is going to narrow and it's going to be big stripes at the bottom and skinny ones at the top. And I didn't like that. So I think this is, I don't know what this is going to be. Socks, probably. So I love self-striping socks, but not for the shawl. So as much as I loved this yarn, I put it aside too. And I went back to the yarn that I actually woke up thinking about this morning. And I should have went with this right off the bat because when you're like dreaming about yarn, that is a total sign, right? This is the one that I am meant to knit. I wound this up. This was in a skein, and I showed you this in one of the organization videos. There's no ball band on here, but I am pretty sure that this is the same yarn. Gaynor Homestead. This is their natural undyed, obviously, and here it is. I think this is the Space Cadet colorway. I know I bought a navy from them a couple of years ago at the Woodstock Fleece Festival. I think I told you it was going to be a hat for my brother. Well, good job he doesn't know about all the plans that I have made for him because I've decided this is going to be a hat for me. So this yarn is speaking to me. This has always said it's wanted to be a hat. Don't think I'm crazy because I listen to my yarn. But I don't know. Maybe it's not so much that the yarn talks to me, but it's that I don't know, I just have a plan, I have a feeling, and I haven't started it because I've been fiddling around with those other two balls, but I know what this wants to be. I know what I want it to look like. I just have to play around with it. So I think I'm going to, this is a nice worsted weight, so I think I'll grab a 4mm needle to do, I want to do a thin, like a really small brim on it in ribbing. And then go up to a 4.5mm, which is a US 7 for you guys who you go by US sizes. And I have this idea about putting, either doing a really, really wide rib or a twisted stitch in there. I'm going to play. I have a good idea. So this I'm excited about knitting. So stay tuned. Follow me on Instagram if you don't already, because that's where you'll see, you know, a little sneak peek of what this becomes before next Monday when I show it to you again. I'm really excited. This is local yarn, a local farm. Yeah, I'm really happy to. This I think this is what I should have just started with at the beginning. I don't know. I should have just, I don't know. I was more like I was trying to force that to like use it, get it out of my stash when I didn't have a really solid plan of what I wanted to do. This one I do. So I think I won't have any problem working on it. I think that is everything that I wanted to show you. So happy knitting, everybody. Have a great week. If you're starting anything new, post on Instagram and use the hashtag #NewStartMondayKnits, and then I can follow along with your progress and cheer you on and see what you're working on. So hopefully you can find a little bit of quality knitting time sometime this week or on the weekend, and enjoy. And I will see you back here Monday for sure with an update on this hat, and definitely again on the weekend with some more storage organization, because I think just a little sneak preview for what's coming up for storage is not going to be so much sorting. I've got a shelf over here that you guys can't see right now, but it's the next one to go through. But I may actually just show you my piles of what I'm keeping and what's going. And I've got to get some of this yarn off the floor and back on this shelf. So I think before I make any more mess by unloading more shelves, I've got to sort out what I've got. So stay tuned, because I'm going to be making, well, what are tough decisions for me about what is staying and what is going. So stay tuned for that exciting, thrilling video, because I will probably be having an anxiety attack trying to part with my yarn. But I'm feeling pretty good. The more I sort through and I see like fabulous yarn like this, and I'm seeing some other stuff that I'm like, yeah, I've had it for so long and I haven't cast it on. So I think I'm finally ready to part with some yarn. So we'll see. No guarantees, but fingers crossed. So have a fantastic week, everybody, and I will see you right back here on the weekend. Happy knitting.